we're starting a new series. Yep, starting a new series, and this time we're going to be going through Divergent, because, well, the movies are still coming out now, aren't they? So, Divergent. Before we get started, that's spoiler stuff. So, Divergent is a futuristic dystopian society that, well, followed the Hunger Games. So, a lot of dystopian societies follow the Hunger Games. But in this one, there are multiple factions in the city of Chicago as they try to just live together in harmony, and each faction has a different characteristic, where it's like fearless, braveless, smarts, kindness, honesty, that kind of thing. And each person stays in their own faction, except there are people who are called Divergents, where they fit into many of these factions. And now it's up to Trish, who finds out that she is a Divergent, to, well, stop the government, because it's a dystopian novel. Of course they're going to have to stop the government eventually in this. And that's all you'll get for these non-spoilery stuff. It's actually a really good read. I picked this up because I was bored, and it is actually a very good read. Okay, it's very interesting. You don't really see some things coming. Then again, I don't see a lot of things coming, especially when it comes to books. Even though I love to foreshadow when I write, but lots of foreshadowing going on. It's very interesting to think about all the different, like, factions in one. And if you've seen the movie's actually fairly accurate. I've seen worse as in that. That's it. Now let's talk about the book. The book. Now, our first character today is Trish, or Beatrice. Whichever one you want to think of her as. We are first introduced to her as Beatrice, and she is Abnegation, so the selfless faction. Except she does not like that. You started off kind of with her, like, getting her hair cut in front of a mirror. This is, like, one of the only times she ever had to look at a mirror, because they're supposed to forget themselves and, I guess, be a spirit and just help everyone. Which, nothing is wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with helping people, and they're, like, the governing faction. Each faction has their own little, like, group, like, in society, you are the government. In society, you are the military. In society, you are the scientists. Like that. And then we find out about that she's going to turn 16, and when you turn 16, you get to pick your faction. She goes and finds out that she's Divergent. So she's really erudite, dauntless, and Abnegation. Which makes complete sense. When you think about her character, she's really smart. She's also pretty brave, and she's still nice throughout the whole process. She doesn't really want to hurt people unless she has to, which you find out later. The end of this, well, there's always a will in everything. Dangerous Apprentice, Heroes of Olympus, not Divergent. Is that like a name you have to have in your book sometimes? I don't know, but she goes into Dauntless. In this book, it's a lot of training, so it's kind of fun to see how they go through their training, and it's like futuristic training, so they're using all this high-tech stuff. The thing that I would like to try is this fear landscape. That just sounds really interesting. You go in there and you actually find out your worst fears. And then this way you kind of have to face your fears. Weird fear, like, yeah, your fear landscape could actually help you get over your fears, which is the point of Dauntless. So, yeah, Dauntless. They go to Dauntless, they get to wear all the black and the reds, and that's every color is its own faction, and that's what she does. She wears that, and she starts moving up through the ranks. She's moving up. She finds she's really good at these simulations. It takes her a while to start fighting, but they find that she's also really smart, because during Capture the Flag, she's the one thinking. She's thinking. And there are a lot of other parts with a lot of training. So if you like training, this is the book. Except then, everything starts to go wrong. Just when you're like, okay, here we go. We're going to find out how she did, if she's going to stay in Dauntless, because Dauntless, they cut people. They're like, yeah, no. Cut! Yeah, you're terrible at fighting. Nope! Yeah, you're not fearless enough. Cut! And everything. And she starts to have this relationship with 4, and you figure out pretty quickly 4 probably knows she's Divergent. 4 is probably Divergent, which he is. And then we go into the fight scene, and she has to get through everything, and the part that she has to kill Will? I I did not like that part, because you're sitting there going, no! Oh, Will! Will is like one of those characters that you're just like, no! But he is... but... Yeah, you're sitting, you don't want him to die, but then she ends up having to kill him, and then her parents die, and her brother is like, still sticking with this whole faction idea. She's like, no, we can't trust the faction system, and he's like, we have to. I'm sticking with erudite, because he chose erudite when during all this, because it's like they're both the same age because of like what they were born right after another. So it's an interesting little twist on the relationship, but that actually happens in real life, so it makes sense. And during the second book, there's just so much fighting going on. They're jumping around from all these different factions. They're trying to figure out what to do, where to go, and like explaining what's going on to the other factions. Because this one, Divergent, it's more of the erudite, of negation, and dauntless. Those. There we go. Not really too much of the other two, which is like Amity, which I call it Amity, and Candor, so the honest ones and the nice ones. So they have to go there. She has to confess in front of everyone to killing Will. That killed her because like it was Christine's boyfriend, her best friend's boyfriend. No. I did not like that part. I really, really didn't. But we have all that fighting, and then to stop people from dying, she goes and is just like, here I am. Here I am. Take me prisoner. Because she doesn't want anyone else to die, because of the whole simulation thingy in their head. Still go, and she turns herself into erudite, except no matter what they do, they cannot beat her. They're trying to like make her think that it's a simulation, but it's like lucid dreaming almost. Those like few people out there who can lucid dream. Maybe that's how Veronica Roth came up with this whole idea. She like, what if people could lucid dream? What would that be called? But it really is kind of lucid dreaming, because this whole time she's doing all these simulations and you're like in it. You're going, oh my god, this is real. This is real. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? How is she going to get out of this situation? Except then she's like, you're not real. This is a simulation, and it is like lucid dreaming. It is lucid dreaming. You wake up in your dream and go, wait. This isn't real. I'm dreaming. Okay, brain, wake up. I know I'm dreaming. It's lucid dreaming. Sometimes she can even and she even manipulates it. It really is lucid dreaming. She can lucid dream. Divergents are lucid dreamers. Yeah, okay. I just had that revelation right now. But she does that, and then they decide to kill her. And so many points, it's like a very realistic thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna kill you now. And it goes, and they're about to kill her. Except then, that really annoying guy from the training, I don't even remember his name, honestly. I read this book like a year ago, at least the first one. Yeah, I had to wait for the next book. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but that really annoying guy from her training, he ends up saving her, and now, we go outside the city. Now, this whole time, let me tell you, I'm kind of just going through what happened with Trish. And I'll tell you, I liked it. The second book was my favorite out of the three. And this whole time with Trish, she is exploring her divergentness. And this whole thing, figuring out what she can do, using it to her advantage, trying to help, trying to lead as best she can. And still having that relationship with Four, which I really liked. It's one of those things, I don't like relationships that just seem forced. It's one of those things where it's like it gradually grows into it. And that's when you know it's good. You gotta gradually go into it. It's not love at first sight type thing. It was more of, oh, I like you, I kinda like you, I like him. And then it grew into love. But like I said, the whole first time, the first two books were more of her exploring her divergentness, which again, there was nothing wrong. Like I said, I love the second book. Cannot wait for the movie to come out. I love the second book. It was my favorite. But then we get even deeper with her when she goes outside the city. Like I said, they've been in Chicago this entire time, and they go outside the city. But when they go outside the city, I feel like her character does get a lot more deep. And I do like that. I like that her character does get more deep. in there, and she starts to kind of have like these revelations where she's like, so this was all fake. I'm normal, and I did not like that. That's the thing I did not like. I did not like that when they got out there and they're like, yep, you're divergent. She's like, great, what does that mean? What do we do now? And they're just like, oh no, that just means you're normal. See, this whole thing was like a test. It was the most disappointing dystopian explanation ever. Okay? I read a couple dystopian books. I've had to read them for school. I've had to think about them. Like, we have dystopian novels out there. It was the most disappointing explanation ever. It was like, well, you see, government decided to mess with everyone's DNA one day, and then all this happened, and to get everyone back, we put them into factions, and there's a bunch of them all around the U.S. and the city, because we were trying to fix it, and these faction idea was working, and we could find the, and we could allow people to become divergent again, which is pretty much meaning they're normal. It's like, it frustrated me, because it's like, okay, so you have divergent. Divergent. You've been telling everyone divergents are special, divergents are special. And go, oh no, wait, they're not. They're normal. They're back to normal. Yeah. Everyone else, they're messed up. They're messed up over there. They're messed up. But divergents, they're back to normal. They're good. They're normal. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? You can see, I really did not like that. Like, I stopped reading the book for a good, I'd say 3 or 4 months because of that. And then I read the ending, and the way when and I do like how it bounced back and forth between her and Ford's point of view. It didn't make sense to me to do that though, because the first 2 books were in first-person point of view. Why would you go and all of a sudden throw in, okay, so for Tobias, I'm going to call him Tobias so I don't get confused. So, because Tobias is like all of a sudden in there and has like a point of view now? What? Why didn't he have a point of view in this one? This one would have actually been really interesting. Would have loved to see his point of view in the second one. Like I said, the second one, beautiful. I loved it. Loved every second, every word, every letter of that book. I loved every part of it. Except until then, like I don't really get that. And now I know she died at the end, and the ending, it kind of redeemed the explanation for me, because she's like, I'm divergent, can't stop me, and then she dies, and I was like, the character died, and I would have been fine with it. Like, you know, obviously I would have been like, no, Trish is dead, but again, it continued. See, if the main character dies, the main character that you started off with, they die, you really should not continue the story past that, because to me it makes no sense. Again, adding, it was really cool when I found that out. I'm like, oh, Ford gets a point of view, this is going to be so cool, but it makes no sense. It makes no sense. If you look at every other series there is, so like, you know, let's see, what series do I have right here? So my bookshelf's like right over here, right over there. Let's see, here's Olympus, it's on the top shelf. It bounced back and forth between D7's point of view, and it was between a lot of point of views, and the points of views changed the entire time. So it actually made some sense to have just various points of view from the main character. Percy Jackson was in first person the entire time. Kane Chronicles, only Carter and Sadie. We didn't have like Zaya thrown in there all of a sudden. Ranger's Apprentice, it was in third person the whole time. You can't just suddenly change the points of views. At least in my opinion, you don't do that. You really don't. So I know I'm ranting about that a lot. I did not like it. But when she died, for the reason it redeemed the whole divergent is normal thing, but I still didn't like it. You never like when a main character dies. You never do. Well, that's the review for Trish. I did like her, okay? I do like her as a character. I like how she more explored herself first before she acted on impulse or anything. She still acted on impulse when she had to, but she had morals and still explored her divergentness. So, I like that. Did not like her dying or the explanation for this whole thing. So, that's just a side note on the series as a total. But I did like Trish as a character. for dystopian novels, yeah, she kind of came close to to how a teenage girl acts in dystopian novels, honestly. And now, we always do something fun at the end of this. We have like regard tweets of the day, as we've done Ranger lesson of the day. That was fun. But this time, the movies are coming out. So since the movies are still coming out, I'm going to ask you what you thought of the movies. If you want to say anything, but just about Trish. Only about Trish for now. Trish in the movie is not entirely like the Trish in the book. I like the Trish of the book better. And now you might be going, well, of course you did, because it's the book. Yes and no. They got close with her. Like I said, I've seen worse. So much worse. And they got pretty close with her, but I feel like she was still too shy and withdrawn, because, yeah, at the beginning she did that, but I like how we knew her better, especially with thought process. That whole narrating thing they had going, maybe they could have thrown in a little bit more narration here and there. They didn't have to do the whole narrate at the beginning, narrate at the end. That's fine and all, but maybe give her a couple thoughts here and there instead of just stares and stares and staring over here and looking over there and looking up and looking down, stare down. There was just a lot of her staring. You had to, unless you knew the book, you kind of didn't know what was going through her head. A lot of this, especially when it's a first-person series, is what goes through these characters' heads when they're talking. So that's the only thing I have against the movie Trish, but movie versus book, that's really the only thing, because other than that, they got everything. She's more exploring her divergentness. She's more outgoing than most other divergents. She's smart, she's still nice, and she's still very brave. So, I did like that. They got her pretty close. Like I said, I've seen worse, so bravo for getting her that close. And next time we will be doing her boyfriend 4, who is now single because of her death. I don't like when main characters die. It's just so sad, but at the same time, it's like impactful. It's conflicting emotions. You don't know what to do with them. So, next time we will be talking about 4, like the number. Not I am number 4, but you know, just 4. 4 fears. We get to talk about 4. So thanks for watching. Bye!